The younger generation, born after the establishment of the modern nation-state of Israel in 1948, tends to call themselves Israeli rather than Jewish. This is because this younger generation identifies more with the inherited Israeli cultural identity than with the religion of Judaism itself. Regardless of whether they call themselves Jewish or Israeli, the people remain united in their identity as the children of Abraham. On our last episode, the Spirit of Asia team met with the immigrant Jewish community in the state of Manipura. In this episode, we get to meet the Jewish community consisting of tourists and immigrants who have settled here in the Kingdom of Thailand. Modern Jewish society outside the Holy Land. Every Israeli citizen, whether male or female, must receive military training after they finish secondary school. And before choosing to pursue university studies or joining the workforce, they must spend at least 1 year traveling. Some travel to Europe or India, or countries in Southeast Asia, such as Thailand. For this reason, our team travels to Chiang Mai in Thailand, to one of the most popular destinations for the younger generation of Israelis. A good number of Israelis have settled in Chiang Mai to set up businesses, like the restaurant Sababa. Aviv Bar, the owner of the restaurant, is an Israeli citizen, and he introduces us to some famous dishes that are popular among Israelis. It's interesting that the cuisine is a combination of both the original methods and local ingredients found here in Chiang Mai. The cuisine is essentially a fusion of inheritance from the land of their ancestors and the culinary styles adopted from the different foreign cultures in which they have settled. Chicken schnitzel is one such example. The word schnitzel is German in origin, and the dish itself came from Austria. A schnitzel is a thin slice of meat fried in fat. The meats are breaded before frying. The schnitzel is made using beef or pork, depending on personal preference. The Israeli schnitzel is the result of a culinary process which has been adapted to the very strict standards of kosher food. So the Jewish version of the fried meat cutlet is actually breaded chicken. Aviv introduces us to some of his Israeli friends who are running the Red Brick Guest House, as well as a tour agency that hosts Israeli travelers in northern Thailand. Aviv tells us that he used to be very religious, but after he completed his military training, he chose life as a layperson.
I grew up with not Orthodox, but traditional family that all the holidays we celebrate them in Shabbat. We make, kiddush and all the religious stuff that we do, but not. We weren't so Orthodox, but with the time when I grew up and when the army, I was put tefillin every day and pray. But with the time after the army, I got less a believer, less religious. I'm still kind of traditional, but eat kosher and celebrate the holidays, but not so much. I came 2.5 years ago. I joined with the guy that opened this restaurant, and I worked there with him. And after 2 years, it was very hard for him, to work. He was 70 years old, and I like to work with people. It's not my main occupation. I'm an IT guy, but I like to look at people in the eyes and laugh with them and serve them. So I bought from him all the restaurant. Yeah, so most of the clients Americans, European. Now we have a lot of Chinese, a lot of people from. Also, we have at least two Thai families a week. So it's nice, the local people eat here as well. All the expats that live here also they eat as well in Sababa. And thanks God, most of the year I met some people from islands that I don't know the names. They say, wow, you got a time. Or I met people that come from Latin America, in places I don't know the names. They say, it's so far, and they came all the way to Thailand and say it's amazing,
Yeah.
Because
and the pig Israeli food.
And the pig Israeli food, yeah. So we are lucky. Thanks God, that the people rank us in the internet. Shabbat. So I open every day, and when the Jewish people come, say no, we open on Shabbat, and we don't have kosher certificate, but we try to keep it clean, and it's Israeli authentic dishes. And if someone don't like, I say okay, go Chabad. They or here for you, maybe it's look like as I would say it's like a big living room that every Israeli can come, drink coffee, talk with the rabbi, or if you have any problems, they help them. For example, I had a good friend that he died, and Chabad helped with all the arrangement. Or there was a guy that ran over in Pai, so Chabad take care to fly someone there, take the body, all the arrangement back to Israel. So every issue you have, or you need to talk with someone, you go to Chabad.
One of the rituals that Jewish men must perform daily after sunrise until before sunset is to pray while wearing a tefillin. A tefillin is a set of small black leather boxes containing scrolls of parchment inscribed with verses from the Torah. The tefillin strap is wound by the wearer around the forearm and hand, on the left arm for right-handed people, and on the right for those who are left-handed. Aviv tells us that he hasn't worn the tefillin for many years now, and he currently isn't in possession of a tefillin set, but he can always borrow a tefillin set from the Chabad House, which is a Jewish gathering place. Chabad is an Orthodox Jewish Hasidic movement. Founded in 1775 in what is today Belarus, the movement, with its headquarters, relocated to Brooklyn, New York after World War II and has become a global force. The world headquarters of the Chabad are in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. Chabad focuses on presenting the traditional teachings in an accessible way so that the younger generation of Jews can be persuaded back to their roots. A Chabad house is a center for disseminating traditional Judaism by the Chabad movement. Chabad houses exist in almost every big city throughout the world, especially cities that are popular tourist destinations for young people. Today, the Chabad house can be likened to a meeting place for traveling Jews. Due to the safety protocols of Israelis, Chabad houses tend to have very strict security measures installed. The request to use the house's services requires prior communication with the keepers. Otherwise, one needs to be accompanied by an Israeli, although another security check is performed in front of the entrance. The Chabad house remains the single option for practicing Jews who need to perform prayer rituals and who eat only kosher food. So the house is a well-rounded service center for Jews. One of our team members makes prior contact with the rabbi who looks after the Chabad house in Chiang Mai. But due to many conditions of inconvenience, we are unable to have an interview with the rabbi. Apart from the Israelis who have set up businesses here, there are also Israeli travelers who are first time visitors to Chiang Mai. They have fallen in love with the people and places here to the point of deciding to settle here in Thailand. Sadrit, an Israeli woman who we met at Aviv's restaurant, shares her past travel experiences with us.
Actually, in Israel, we have a traditional trip after the army, which is everyone goes for a big trip after the school and the army. So everyone goes to Thailand and the Philippines, and there's a path called Shvil HaHummus, the hummus path, and everyone, it's really it's real. And everyone doing the same
route.
The same route.
Israeli people, most of them are doing the same route after when they do the big trip.
Yeah.
And Thailand is definitely one of the most popular destinations for Israeli people.
Wait, why did you go after the army?
We didn't go to the army.
Not me and not her.
Not me and not
she
her.
was religious,
Yeah.
and I had a sports path. So both of us.
So now we are having our
Unfortunately.
big trip, which
Yeah.
is people do it when they're 20. We're doing it right now. And if you ask me, I think it's the best. For me, it was the best decision because the things that I feel here in Thailand and the things that I explore and the things that I'm looking for and what I care about is not the thing that I was care about when I was 20. And I grew up as a religious girl. I went only to a school with girls only, and I had a beautiful childhood. And but I think that in some point in my life, maybe when I was 16, 17, I wondered about the other world, about the world that I don't know. For example, I used to keep Shabbat and keep kosher my whole life. And I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about the outside of what I know. And I have to say that it was a very interesting journey for me to go out and discover things late than other people. But if you ask me, I think it was the best journey for me because these days, let's say I'm almost 30, these days when I travel and when I explore things, and I bring with me the knowledge and the education and the values that I've been raised on, I am coming sometimes in a completely different point of view.
Definitely.
Because first of all, I understand what other religious people think, even if they are not from my religious, but I know the value that makes them do things. And I value, the things that I have in my life. Because when you open your mind to new cultures and new people and new religions, and you just take more from the world. So
you accept.
I
more.
feel blessed.
Definitely.
And I love the way that we live today. And getting to a country like Thailand for me is giving me.
The map of Chabad houses in Thailand shows that one is located in the heart of Bangkok, at Sukhumvit, Soi 20. This Chabad house is under the jurisdiction of the Jewish Association of Thailand. The house serves as a venue for religious rituals, and it also assists the Jewish residents of Thailand as well as travelers who are visiting. In addition, religious instruction is provided for Jews who are interested in studying the Torah or who want to have discussions concerning Judaism.
So I hear that they're going to open a new restaurant and they're looking for a chef to open the restaurant. Yes. So I leave my job in the Philippines, I come here to open the restaurant, to organize the staff, to teach them to cook, to make a menu to the restaurant. I cannot use everything from the local stuff here. I cannot buy whatever I want in the shop. Everything needs to be kosher with certificate, so it's more hard to cook here than in Israel. Herbs, all the herbs, it's not kosher here. I need to order it from Israel and then make it here. After I wash it and also make it, we're making milk here, kosher milk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In Bangkok?
No, in Supanburi, I think. Saturday, we're not working. Saturday, it's like the God, give us 1 day to rest. We cannot work, we cannot do nothing, only rest. So in Israel, when Friday is coming, usually Friday we work half day, and then we're preparing to the Shabbat, the dinner, all the families come together, sitting together, eating in the Friday evening. So usually every Friday in the afternoon, all the families in Israel go to buy to the supermarket to buy pastry stuff, if it's bread, to the evening meal, burekas to eating, because usually in the Israeli family they cook in the Friday afternoon, they cook the food for the evening. So it's like they don't, the mother don't let you touch the food, they need to wait to the evening. So everybody go to buy, some snacks, bureka, something to eat until the...
J Cafe is one of the 2 kosher restaurants in Bangkok. Kosher foods must conform to strict Jewish dietary regulations, and there is much complexity to these food standards. Pork is not permitted, and fish is only considered kosher if it has fins and scales. Dairy products and meat are absolutely forbidden to be consumed during the same meal according to Jewish law. A kosher kitchen contains separate sets of dishes, utensils, cookware, and separate preparation areas for meat and dairy. And for this reason, J Cafe does not serve dishes containing red meat ingredients. The menu at J Cafe is dairy-oriented. For Jews who want to be served kosher meat, the Chabad House on Khao San Road presents their own selections.
My name is Yosef Cantor, and I came to Thailand in December of 1992 to visit the Jewish community. At the request of the local Jewish community, the Jewish Association of Thailand asked me to come and be their rabbi, their leader. And in May of 1993, my wife, myself, and our child moved to Thailand. And we've been here ever since. The mission of the Jewish community in Thailand is, of course, to provide leadership and Jewish services for any Jew living or traveling in Thailand. One of the great institutions that we've established here in Thailand is the Chabad House, which is basically a home away from home for travelers. And we provide moral leadership, teaching children, teaching adults, being a proper guiding light for the Jewish community. At some stage or another, Jewish people, even if they're not so connected to the Jewish community, comes a time in their life or an event that happens to them or some soul searching or something triggers their soul and makes them want to come and connect to their community. So we don't really know what it is. Sometimes it's a loved one that passed away that they feel sad about. Sometimes they had a child, they had a good event, they want to say thank you to God and reconnect to the synagogue. Or sometimes it's just a memory that's stirred by some smell or something, and they remember doing the holidays back home and they want to have a taste of that again. Community and the Thai people and the Thai culture is very tolerant and accepting, so I've never felt any animosity, God forbid. I've never felt anything but acceptance and tolerance and love, and that's an amazing tribute to Thai society. So I've always felt very at home in Thailand. Most of my children were born in Thailand, grew up in Thailand. We only have good things to say about it. And as I said, you can serve God and fulfill the rituals really anywhere you are. It was more difficult when we got here because of the infrastructure, but we've added infrastructure, and the J Cafe is a great addition. Almost any kosher food that I could want is now available to us. So it's become, over the years, it's become much easier, and at some stage it has become our home. It's home, and we try to make the best possible environment here for the Jewish community, and to help in any way possible to the greater Thai community.
Apart from the religious and dietary services provided by Chabad houses, religious instruction is also provided for Jews, both children and adults. Rabbi Baruch, the director of activities, serves as the link for the younger generation of Jews or those who have become distanced from the teachings of the Torah. The rabbi builds interest among these groups of Jews so that they may return to God's path.
Once I finished middle school, my next step was to go to yeshiva. Yeshiva is basically a place where you learn how to study yourself. Over 5 years or 6 years, you're studying Talmud, you're studying Jewish law, you're studying Jewish philosophy, you're studying the Bible every week, and so on. And this type of understanding just helps you in the 21st century appreciate what you have, what your tradition is. Went to 2 years in Los Angeles. Then I went to Paris for 3 years. So after 3 years in Paris, I went back to New York. In New York, I studied for 2 years in yeshiva there. I did a year of post-yeshiva doing programs in Israel. Then I came back and I started my rabbinical studies in the Central Chabad Yeshiva. At that point, one of my friends, classmate, he had gone on a walk one Shabbos afternoon with the chief rabbi of Thailand, Rabbi Cantor. And while he was doing it, he was saying he's looking for a while for an American couple, but an American that could deal with youth in English, bar mitzvah classes in English, things that he had been, and young professionals in English. So he sent me an email. And then we flew down for a week to see it. It was pretty crazy that week. I still remember it. And yet at the same time, we're like, okay, this is maybe where we're supposed to be. We met a few people. We met him. He was happy. We were confused. We've never been anywhere past. I mean, I was in Europe. I was in Europe. So being that I was in Europe, I've been to a number. But European culture is not Asian culture, and it's a world apart. And I never would have believed that I would have ended up. People ask me, "Do you speak Thai?" I mean, I've been here now 4 years. We're going towards the almost 5 years now. And the answer is no. And they ask, you're there for 4 years. How is it that you don't speak Thai? It's a good question, because probably I have a knack with languages a bit. At least that's what people tell me. I got Hebrew, I got Yiddish, I got English, I got French. And I got a nice pocket of words of Russian. And I got now a couple of words of Thai too. So the obvious question is why? And certainly if you're living in their culture and in their land. And the real reason is because it's not the people who I typically deal with. If you look at India, you look at China, even Hong Kong, I believe these have, certainly India and China, they have Shanghai, for instance, age-old Jewish, the Silk Road, or whether it was the jeweler's path of sorts, of which traders were already in the 16th century and earlier, certainly with the Indian community, it goes back over 1,000 years. There's a Jewish community of old, and therefore they speak the native language. In Thailand, it's a very contemporary community in terms of the oldest, record we have is about 100 years old. And it only right before the World War II, the Jewish community was boosted from German Jews, and then they left after World War II. And then again, it was more and more Americans or Westerners would come and they would build up the community. It was only till maybe the 1950s, the Korean War and later the Vietnam Wars, where the Jewish Association was created. It's only about 70 years. And who is the community? The community is expats. It's what we call Farang. That's who it is, and so the ones that I've dealt with on a day-to-day have typically been all English-speaking, or Hebrew-speaking or French-speaking, which again, where my common language would be with them all would be English. But on day-to-day, I don't typically deal with the Thai community, being that there aren't some very many Jews in the if any. There's no history of it, and there are a few that have converted in 100%, and those usually typically speak English. So that's the flip side.
Although a substantial number of Jewish people have distanced themselves from their faith over the years, many do develop an interest and a more intensive disciplinary approach when they get to a certain stage of their lives. It could well be that being Jewish is not only restricted to religious ways and belief systems. Being Jewish encompasses the life and the flesh and the blood that can never be separated from each other.